So, folks, as many of you know, CPAC has come and gone. Another year of conservative thought springing into being. It's a beautiful time of the year when anything's possible. Now, let's throw it on over to one of the speakers that they managed to bring to CPAC this year, which of course I'm referring to the reanimated corpse of Steve Bannon. You might be thinking, wait, Steve Bannon? He died? And yeah, have you ever seen Steve Bannon? He's constantly in a state of decay. And many of you remember Steve Bannon was Trump's lead campaign strategist for 2016 to get him elected the first time. And ever since then, he's kind of retreated back into the shadows to kind of advise Donald Trump and, attempt to avoid any kind of incarceration he might encounter. And let's take a look at how this is going for him over at CPAC.
Look, there was a lot of wisdom in what Brandon had to say, right, about all these fights, etc. And that's going to be worked out.
God, he genuine. I know I was making a joke earlier, but damn, you did not have to prove me right this hard, man.
Most important people here are you. You have to be convinced. We're in the middle of a war right now, or let me say probably the start of a war. The decision in going forward is obviously the commander-in-chief's. But people have to have his back, and you're only going to do that with full information. You have to be convinced that this is the right thing to do, particularly now that we're on the eve of potentially the insertion of American combat troops. Your sons, daughters, granddaughters, grandsons could be on Carg Island or be holding a beachhead down by the Strait of Hormuz, a place I had the pleasure of transiting on a Navy destroyer back in 1980. And let me tell you, it looks like the surface of the moon. It couldn't be more foreign to folks in the United States. But
yeah, people in the United States wouldn't understand rocky terrain. That's hot, rocky terrain. There's nowhere in the United States that looks hot and rocky. Don't look at the entirety of the Southwest. Don't look at the Badlands. Don't look at any of that, okay? It's the only place that looks alien like the moon is the Middle East. Because they're foreign, and that means scary.
As all this debate goes on, and who's right, who's wrong, what's going to happen, it's a debate that has to happen. We have work to do, and we have work to do today. In a room next door, there are 150 grassroots leaders in the state of Texas that have brought about one of the biggest changes in this country.
Can I just say I admire Steve Bannon's ability to just start up and say, now guys, the only way we can really decide if we should be going to war is if we have full information, something that is absolutely not going to happen.
I'm Steve Bannon, and I approve this massage, which might be in well-known files.
Oh God, I'm not gonna lie. I've been so wrapped up in Iran war stuff that I forgot Steve Bannon was in the files. I genuinely forgot. I didn't forget, Donald Trump's in the files, but I did forget this guy was in the files. He hung out a freakish amount with Jeffrey Epstein. The photographs they're in together really implicate him. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. He's all over those things with lots of pictures. He's in a lot of pictures that have very disturbing pictures in them. Like he's in the photograph, but then in the photograph you can see other pictures on Jeffrey Epstein's desk or wall or something that look like very young girls, and it's really disturbing.
Passed a Proposition 10 to ban Sharia.
Sorry, I got distracted by that, but I admire Steve Bannon's ability to basically just say, this thing that will never happen is what's required for us to know how to proceed. But just keep in mind, it's really alien and scary out there, and your kid might be set to go die on a beach, which is basically as close as he can get to, this is a bad idea and we shouldn't do it. But like, he did it in such a non-confrontational way that I doubt most people listening understood what he was saying or why he was saying it, you know?
A law in the state of Texas.
Also, I'm sorry. I know I'm being real pause champ right now, but like,
Passed a Proposition 10 to ban Sharia law in the state of Texas.
Conservatives, you need, in Texas, you felt the need to pass a law to ban Sharia law. How do you think that Sharia law was going to be implemented in Texas? What's the, via what mechanism exactly? Like, is there a sizable Muslim population in Texas that I'm unaware of and was seeking to institute theocratic reforms? Because, like, I know that there is a sizable group of people in Texas seeking to get theocratic reforms passed. They're just not Muslim. And most of them are very conservative.
Starting with no resources and no support. They got almost 2 million votes. That's the work we need today. Because I'll tell you what, a bigger threat to this country right now.
I thought conservatives were all about freedom of religion. They are, until it's, you want to be free of their religion, and then they get really upset about it.
Is in City Hall in New York City, in these mosques in North Texas.
I know I'm pausing after every half sentence that is out of his mouth, but like, you got a room full of people who ostensibly stand for the Constitution so hard that some of them have it literally tattooed on their bodies, and yet you have these people hooting and hollering about essentially banning churches in Texas. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you just tweak it, you're like, you want to ban churches? Like, these people would have a heart attack. They would have a heart attack at the idea of the government banning a church. But the second it's a mosque, something scary and foreign, then suddenly they're all aboard. The double standard and hypocrisy are genuinely disgusting to me.
The Dallas Morning News, normally I'll bring up as a heuristic device the Financial Times or the Wall Street Journal, but here it's the...
You don't get it the moment they built the mosque, they took control of the tile? Oh no.
This is the Dallas Morning News. Paxton, Cornyn divided on CPAC, right? Cornyn's not coming. You know why? He didn't think you were important enough to talk to. Politico.
Look. Okay, so Steve Bannon is here to play favorites and to stump for Ken Paxton. And that's interesting. The last we heard, Donald Trump hadn't picked a candidate. And it seems like perhaps through Steve Bannon, Trump is trying to feel out which candidate to endorse.
Reports this morning in an article called Texas Hold'em that President Trump, in all likelihood, is not going to endorse in this race.
Oh, of course this isn't new, canned acid. Like, of course this isn't new. This is a very old xenophobia, Like, this goes back thousands of years. But, like, the scale to which this xenophobia can spread as a result of technology is quite a bit bigger.
Why is that? Because the hard work of the grassroots community got in back of Ken Paxton. They dropped almost $100 million of negative ads on Ken Paxton. And right now in the latest poll, Ken Paxton is up by 8 points. That's a victory for you. Ken Paxton's emblematic of the grassroots and the MAGA movement throughout the nation. It's more than just an attorney general, more than just an individual. It was about the establishment causing a mess in the state of Texas, refusing to deal with it. And when Paxton came out and ran for the Senate, he didn't have to be defeated. He had to be destroyed. Just like they tried to destroy Donald Trump. And you had his back. And that's why Paxton is grinding.
Paxton is Donald Trump. He's the vessel that will hold Donald Trump's will.
This out to victory. I also believe there needs to be a major investigation of the Cornyn political
Can I just... Part of the reason he has to draw the parallel between Ken Paxton and Donald Trump is because Ken Paxton is like hopelessly corrupt. Like Texas's conservative GOP legislature attempted to impeach him for many different many different scandals. The House actually successfully impeached him, and the Senate only barely acquitted him. But I want y'all to understand, like, Ken Paxton is like a flim-flam man. He's a con artist. He's been, like, doing all kinds of illegal shit for decades. It's crazy.
It's wild how even though Bannon's not high energy by any means, he's lapping Nick Shirley's presentation by leagues.
God, I can't wait to see Nick Shirley try and dribble words out of his mouth like a slobbering toddler. I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna take a look at that. I believe later today when we do our show at a normal time. But Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Yeah, like I don't know. Bannon has like a raw charisma to him. Like I don't think it's I don't find him fun to watch by any means, but like he's a guy who actually believes something and has bothered to like read books and figure out how to orate and have rhetorical skills in order to present those arguments. And like Nick Shirley is none of those things.
Operation, how they raised this money, who put the money in, and how the money was spent to destroy Ken Paxton. It's not acceptable. The grassroots are winning all over the place. Look in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. They're trying to shift the House to be 10-1.
Hey, Jaeger Larson, thank you for giving Konami Kun the Alpha a sub. Appreciate it.
The Republican establishment there absolutely epically failed, and then Youngkin walked away after a horrible putting forward a campaign this last election cycle. The grassroots under Jeff Ryer, a grassroots chairman of the GOP in Virginia and the Commonwealth, have got thousands of grassroots volunteers, people just like yourself, going door to door right now. And Spanberger's landslide on April 21st looks like she could be defeated. So her entire plan to flip the House and impeach Trump and become Newsom's vice president is being thwarted right now by grassroots people. In a courtroom in Georgia right now, they've got the toughest, most expensive lawyers from the left, Norm Eisen and Abby Lowell, in a 5-hour evidentiary hearing. What? To get the evidence back, to get the ballots back. Why? The 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump, and they know it.
Kara Calico, thank you for the 20 knock. Appreciate you. I just want to say here, like, when this is all said and done, after 2028, there is going to need to be, like, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, right? There's going to need to be accountability for people who have gone into public and lied so blatantly and so brazenly, repeatedly for years. This is like an unacceptable and unsustainable rate of falsehood for us to like be able to continue on as a society. Well, he obviously knows it's bullshit, but to him, like, the thing to understand about Steve Bannon is that he is a true believer in a fascist cause. You know, he believes in an authoritarian leader. He believes in that hierarchy, right? And like, he is hoping to get someone who is easy to control into office so that he can like mold them and shape them. And that's what he had hoped Donald Trump would be. And now Donald Trump is going away, and there's going to be no one to protect him anymore. There's going to be no one to protect Steve Bannon, and he knows he's kind of fucked if that happens. Because we need to, when we organize, and I do want everyone to organize, you know, organize with your local Dems, organize with your local DSA, make your Dems more radical and progressive, make your DSA more effective. Do those things, join our Discord, etc., etc., etc. Do the thing, or come over to riverboat.gg and talk to GamerG and Dragonfly. Do those things. That's my plug. It's in the middle. Unexpected. Charming. Maybe. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, but that being said, did not intend to throw that in there, but I did. That being said here, like, let's just get back to this. I lost my train of thought. Dang it! The shilling lost my train!
You think they have them down there and just like in this room, grassroots people fought for 6 years. They
Oh yeah, okay. Found the train again. He knows he's lying, but there needs to be accountability for people who lie like this. Especially for people in elected office who lie like this. And there are many who do. But like this type of brazenness is going to and is destroying the information ecosystem and leading to this polarization in America and this idea that like people are just living in fantasy now, that people aren't basing their ideas on anything. It's just vibes. It's all vibes based politics. And for someone like Steve Bannon, that's perfect because he can take advantage of just vibes. You know,
threaten them with prison. They threaten them with bankruptcy. They threaten them to lose their jobs, lose their families, all of it. And those heroes stood in the breach. And now we have the evidence. We have the evidence that the Republican establishment did not want you to see. That the 2020...
Like, this is what I mean. It's nuts. Also, Quasi-Spec, thank you for the 1,000 bits over on Twitch. Appreciated. But now he's alleging it's not just like the Democrats that are in on it. The Republicans don't want you to see the real evidence of election tampering in the 2020 election. Like, that's crazy. He's now alleging the conspiracy's even bigger. Not to be an asshole, but when Bannon bites the big one, I won't feel bad or anything because of the shit he's done. That's fine. You owe no one your grief. You owe no one your tears.
The election was stolen from Trump.
Bunch of fucking seals.
Everywhere you look around, the Republican establishment creates a mess that you have to go in and clean up. Amen, brother. Too good for him. Victory begets victory. The victory of Paxton will drive us forward. A victory in Virginia will drive us forward. A victory in Georgia will drive us forward to ultimate victory. Don't listen. I don't want to hear talk about the midterm. I don't want to hear talk about 2028. There are decades in which nothing happens, and there are weeks in which decades happen. We're in those weeks, one after the other, after the other, after the other. You put your shoulder to the wheel, and we are going to win. We're going to hold the House and hold the...
there is something just like... There is something here to the fact that, like, the quote that he tried to make just then is widely attributed to Vladimir Lenin. I don't know if it's actually from Lenin, but, like, he knows that it's an effective rhetorical tool, and he'll use it anyway, right? Because that's just how Steve Bannon do.
And have President Trump come back to mass deportations, right? Mass deportations. To unchain Bobby Kennedy, who you're going to hear tomorrow. We have the right policies. We just need the resolve to see it through, finish what we started. Over a year ago, when Matt and Mercy decided that D.C. wasn't the right place for CPAC, they picked Texas. How providential was that? Given what happened on Proposition 10, given this long shot bet of Ken Paxton right here, right now. And you know why? The state of Texas is the jewel in the crown of the union. Where Texas goes, so goes the nation, and where the nation goes, so goes the world. Now, there have been people here that I highly respect, guys like Josh Hammer. I have him on the show a lot, love his book, a good man and a smart man. But came up yesterday and attacking MTG and Matt Gaetz and Megyn Kelly and Tucker.
What? Who could ever have anything negative to say about Matt Gaetz? A guy who was investigated and found very, very much guilty of trafficking a 19-year-old. Or, sorry, was she even younger than that? A teenager? I don't know. Well, let's just take a look. Matt Gaetz, how's he doing? Two women, both represented by attorney Joel Leopard, testified that Gaetz paid them for sex. One of the women said that in July of 2017, she saw Gaetz having sex with her 17-year-old friend, and that once Gaetz became aware of the girl's age, he paused the relationship until she turned 18. The woman, who was 17 at the time of the incident, told the House Ethics Committee that she had 2 sexual encounters with Gaetz at the same party. Cool guy to have speaking at CPAC. But you know what? It's not surprising that Steve Bannon, good personal friend of Jeffrey Epstein, wouldn't have a problem with that.
What's important is not Candace and Tucker and Megyn Kelly or Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. What is important is you. You need to come to your own conclusion, to weigh and measure the evidence, to think about the direction of this republic, to think what America First actually stands for, to think through who are our real allies and who are out for themselves. And most importantly, you need to think about a country that puts American citizens first, that American citizens have priority over everything. People are sitting there going, oh, this person didn't come, this person didn't come. Yes, there are many great people that couldn't make it. Either they didn't want to come or they're tied up running wars and looking after the country. It doesn't matter. You came. This is the power of this movement. The only way we're going to win in November is to go back what got us through in 24, what got us through in 20, what got us through in 16. Grassroots effort, going door to door to get low propensity, lower information voters, Trump supporters to the polls. And if we do that, the Sunland Uplands is in front of us. If we don't, if we just have these quarrels and this bickering and this fighting and lose the fact of what happened in Texas in January and February, if we lose what's happening in the Commonwealth of Virginia now, if we lose the fact of 6 years of struggle in Georgia, we now have the evidence of the 2020 stolen election. If you lose what's important, then we're going to lose the country. Fight on.
I just want to reiterate, they don't have evidence that the election was stolen. Like, all of that is just made the fuck up. Like, every single Republican watching that, like, turning to me and be like, what? You think someone would do that? Just get up on stage during CPAC and tell lies? It's like, yes, of course. Of course he's lying to you. He has everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing so. You're all simpletons that will go along with it. He just has to dangle shiny keys in front of you and you won't ask questions about it. Like, what do those keys operate? Hey, why are we being sent into this thresher? I don't know, but you know what? He tells us there's some good ice cream in there, so I believe him. Like, you guys are saps, man. It's crazy. People that the fact that people in 2026 are still falling for Steve Bannon's bullshit is insane to me. The guy who did a Nazi salute lies, say it ain't so. Yeah. God, the fact that this guy has done a Nazi salute, was it actually at CPAC? Bannon Nazi salute. It was literally at CPAC last year.
Like, the hardest, toughest days are ahead, folks, but you know what? Riyadh, Berlin, Beijing, Moscow, the city of London, right here. This is not beatable. You can't, the only way we lose is if we quit. The only way we don't have victory if we surrender. The only way that they win is we retreat. And we're not going to retreat. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight. Amen. God bless you. You are amazing. You've honored every patriot in this country, every patriot grave. You've honored them through your agency. This is all you.
Yeah, so, you know, after that rousing, After that rousing speech where he did a Hitler salute last year, CPAC had him back. Because again, y'all heard the applause that were given after he did that. They were eating that shit up. Hogs to the trough. Hogs to the fascism trough. And so what we're looking at here is just, well, I think a bit heartening. Because you can see how he ended that speech, and people were just hooting, hollering, clapping for him. You know, they love that he did that little Nazi salute. You know, like, compare this to this.
Here's the country. Fight on.
Like, mostly empty seats. But, like, CPAC last year, they were running off that high of just getting Donald Trump elected. And now it's all empty out here. You know, people can't be bothered to show up anymore. And Steve Bannon's not getting the energy that he wanted to, like last time. And you know, he's not riding so high and mighty anymore that he feels like he can get away with doing a Hitler salute. So he's, you know, he's hiding his Nazi cred a little bit here in order to be more socially acceptable to the, you know, elderly people in attendance. You know, it's depressing that so many people go along with this. It's, I want to demand better of my fellow citizens, you know? Y'all gotta do a little better. Why is this key labeled Orphan Crusher? I don't understand. And you want us to send all of our orphans into the machine. Well, it all makes sense. You're just so goddamn charming when you talk about foreign lands. Anyway, folks, if you got anything out of this, don't go into the orphan crushing machine. And also, like, comment, and subscribe, and organize. I already told you should organize, but organize. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. If you need help, join our Discord. We have 2 channels for talking about organizing in those respective organizations. And otherwise, if you don't want to join Discord, you can find folks over here in riverboat.gg to help you get involved. And last but not least, folks, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. It's also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is non-tucking lingerie that fits. It is comfortable. It is sexy. It is elegant. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. There should be a link down in the description. Go check it out. And with that, let's keep on going.
Riverboat deck is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's